Welcome to our tutorial on building a real-time chat application using Django Channels and the Daphne server. Django Channels allow you to handle WebSockets, which are essential for creating interactive and real-time applications like chat applications. Daphne, a HTTP, HTTP2, and WebSocket protocol server for ASGI and ASGI HTTP will serve as our production-ready server for handling the WebSocket connections. Okay, in this tutorial, we are going to be starting from the basics. We will build a basic chat application step by step. We will cover setting up the Django channels, creating the views, creating the WebSocket consumer, handling messages, and broadcasting messages to multiple clients in real time. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a solid understanding of how to integrate WebSockets into your Django applications for real-time communication between clients and server. All right. This tutorial is meant to serve as a say an introduction to channels, because on this same YouTube channel we are going to be releasing a tutorial where we create something like an application inspired by WhatsApp. Okay, where you have React.js handling the front end and Django handling the back end. It will be a chat application where you can chat with somebody directly or chat with people in a group. Okay, so the chat application is going to be released on the channel very soon, but this is supposed to be an introduction to that. So stay tuned and let us get started. So this is what the application is going to be looking like. I created three web browsers. I opened three different web browsers where we have three different users. Basically, we can emulate three different users. So now I have this other user, but there will be a login interface where you enter a username and you enter the room you want to enter. Now, if the room doesn't exist, it will create the room automatically. That is how the system is going to be designed. So, for example, I can have something like David. Then for this second user, let me have something like Alex. Then for this third user, let me have let me say let me say Idris. Let me say Idris. So for this other one, for the room name, let's say business. Then log into business. Then come here and also log into business. So I have three users that are logging into the business room. All right. So enter the room, and enter the room. Okay. So before now, I have created the room. I entered some information. So now, for David might come here and send a message. For example, David might just come here and send hi. This is David. David and log it. You can see that for David is getting this message to the right. Okay, David's message is floated to the right because David is the current sender. But for these other two people, which is Alex and Idris, the message is going to be received to the left because it is not the current user that sent the message, just like you have in WhatsApp. All right. So if Idris should reply, yes, welcome to the room, Idris speaking. Okay. Now you can see, welcome to the room, Idris speaking. So Idris is sending a message, and for David will be getting it floated to the left. Alex is also going to be getting it floated to the left, but for Idris, it's going to be floating to the right because Idris is the current, is the person sending the message. Then for Alex, this is Alex. It is nice to meet you all. So send it. So you can see this is Alex. It is nice to meet you all. So yes, I'm glad to meet y'all. Oh, send. So you can see that it scrolls to the bottom automatically. Okay, that is also one of the features we are going to be implementing. It scrolls to the bottom automatically. Now, before we leave here, let me go back to the root page and log into another room entirely. What user did I have here? Okay, I had David here. So this particular user, let me go back to the root page. So username is David. Then the room name, let me go to tourism. Okay, so you can see that this tourism room, no messages have been sent to the room. So hi David, you can see this is David, and these other people, they are not going to be receiving the message because they are not in the same room as David. This is something we are going to be implementing using what we call channel layers in channels. So basically, when you connect to the WebSocket, you are connecting to a particular channel layer. That is how we will be designing it, such that only people connected to that channel layer will get messages from that particular layer. So no matter how many messages you sent, another message in tourism room. No matter how many messages you sent, these other people, they will not receive the message because they are not in tourism room. Okay, but if they should log into tourism room, let me tourism, and we are going to be setting this in such a way that this particular search over here, this parameter over here, is not going to be um, like you can type this in lowercase or uppercase and it will still find the room for you. Tourism. Okay, you see we are in the tourism room. So welcome to tourism, and you launch it. You can see everything is going out. All the messages are going to be sent in real time, like real time. As soon as you send it, this guy other guy is going to be receiving it. So yeah, that is what we are going to be doing in this tutorial. Just make sure you stay till the end, and like I said, this is going to be a tutorial that is like a prerequisite for another tutorial that will be created on this channel, which is a real-time chat application inspired by WhatsApp that we are going to be creating using Django and React. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so when it drops, you'll be able to get the notification. So thank you very much. Let's continue. The prerequisite of this tutorial is basically Python and Django, and that is all you need for this tutorial. And we have a couple of courses on the channel that will help you to master both. So if you come to playlist on our YouTube channel, you will see the seasoned Python developer. You can view the full playlist. Then all you need to learn is just Python and yes, this is it, and Django. That is all. Just Python and Django. That is all you need. But for the chat application using Django and React, you will need to learn about Django API development, which is the Django REST framework. All right, so that is all you need to learn. Then you need to learn how to create a virtual environment, and we are good to go. All right. So let us start working on our project. What I want you to do is to go to your device, your laptop, create a folder. So this is my folder. What I want you to do is to open the folder in terminal. If you're on Windows, just look for a way to open your command prompt, navigate to the folder where you are, then create a virtual environment. Okay. So the virtual environment that I want to create, I can name it something like chat env. So virtual env. If you don't know how to create a virtual environment, you can see this tutorial over here. This tutorial over here will help you learn to create virtual environments. So moving on, virtual env chat underscore env. Okay, so now I have my virtual environment. If you open the folder, you can see the chat env. So just enter inside the env. You see the libraries, then the binaries for environment management. So cd chat underscore env. That is me navigating into the chat environment. Then from there, I have to activate the environment before I can do anything. If I should use the environment without activating it, it is more like using the global environment of the device, like the laptop itself, just working globally, which is not what I want. So for me to activate, and that is it. Now my virtual environment is active, I can start to install the dependencies of my project. What are the dependencies? So I'm going to be installing Django and the Daphne server. So pip install Django and also DAPHNE, the Daphne server. So we just wait for it to download. Um, okay, so it is trying to download some of the packages. Some of these packages are pre-installed on my device before now, so it will just use the cached version. But I guess for those ones, the cached version wasn't available. So just give it some time and it is done installing it. So now we need to install Django Channels. Django Channels is what is going to be helping us to create the WebSocket connection. The Daphne server is what is going to be serving the connection for us. So for us to install Django Channels, um, what I would advise you to do, because this particular tutorial I've had to record it twice. This is the second time I'm recording, and the issue that I encountered while I was working on the first tutorial, I won't want you to encounter it. So for you to install your channels, do Python hyphen m, then you say pip install hyphen capital letter U, then channels. Okay, so this is how I will advise you install your channels. If you go to Django channels. Now, if you come here, the documentation, I think it should be under installation. Okay, you see exactly what how they say you should install channels over here, and they are even asking you to install channels with Daphne. All right, they're asking you to install channels with Daphne, and you can see the way they set up the Daphne server over here. So this is exactly what we are doing. But I've installed Daphne already. So this is me just installing only channels. So just come back here and enter. It will install channels. Now all my dependencies are available in my environment. I can go ahead to start my Django project. So Django admin permits me to use backend. Let me use Django admin backend. I must have made a mistake somewhere. Oh, sorry. It should be Django admin start project. Django admin. Sorry about that. Start project. Okay, very good. So you can see I have the backend over here. If you come to, you can see the backend over here. So this is my project basically. So come back here, then see the backend. So from inside my backend, I can go ahead to start my server just to test everything out. So Python manage.py, then run server. So now it has started my server. Let me copy the link and let me go to my tutorials Chrome. You can use any web browser of your choice, but I will choose to use this one. So you can see Django was installed successfully. So that is it basically. Um, Let me install the app. So Python manage.py start app chat. So it will create an application for me. Let me code. So basically, I'm opening that folder in VS Code. So let me make this in bolder. So you can see the chat application and the backend project. So you can see everything is intact. I've not connected the chat to the project for now. So that is just all we have to do for setting up the development environment. Before we move any further, let me do a bit of graphical visual explanation here. So use the pencil and okay, let me go with this one first. Now, the two type of connections that we want to make available in this application is the HTTP connection and the WebSocket connection. So let's say we have this server over here. All right. Let's say that we have this server over here. The server, okay, this server over here. Then we have these devices: one, two, three, 4, and 5. All right. Now, the way HTTP connection works normally is that this individual computer we talk to the server, and the server we decode the information sent from here to the server. Then after decoding it, it will send back the appropriate response to only this particular user. Okay. All the other users too, they are going to be sending an information to this web server over here. Then the web server will decode this information sent and get the appropriate response to be sent to that particular server, that particular device. Okay, you can see that it's a two-way connection. Just you will send a request, then you receive a response. Request response cycle. All right. But in the case of this application that we want to work on now, we can have something like a server somewhere here. All right. We have a server here. Then we have all these other devices. Let's say one, two, three. Then we have one, two, three. Sorry, I'm not the best at drawing. So for each of these devices now, all the devices through WebSocket connection are connected to the server. All right. All the devices are connected to the server via WebSocket connection. All of them. Now, because all of them are connected to the server, if this particular device over here, should decide to send a message to the server, in the case of the HTTP, the server will respond to only that particular device. But in this case over here, when you send a message from any of these devices to the server will broadcast all the message to everybody connected at that particular point in time. That is what we want to do right now in this application. Basically, that is how WhatsApp group chat works. Where you have a group, you have a server somewhere that all of you are connected to. You send a message to the server will send it to everybody that is connected to that particular group. Okay, so another thing that we will be talking about in this tutorial is the channel layers, such that you can create a layer in, for example, you can have these two devices inside a particular group, then these two devices inside another group. So if from this particular group this device should send a message to the server will not broadcast the message to everybody. The server will look for every member of this particular group and send that message to those members only. All right. It will not be sending the message to every person that is connected to the server. It will only send it to the people in that particular group. All right, that is what we want to implement. Let us just get into the implementation. So the first thing that I want to do is go to my settings.py file. Then let me delete all these things on top. So I will add my Daphne server first. Daphne. Then after adding the Daphne server, I will come to add channels. Then after adding my channels, I can actually bring my channels down. It doesn't really affect it, but I prefer to have the Daphne as the first application there. Then chat. Chat is this application that we have over here. So all the groups that we are going to be having, I want to create some sort of um, I want to create a model that is supposed to house rooms and messages, which are group chats basically. But in this tutorial, I'm going to be using them as room. Each room is going to be having a name. A message is going to be having a room where it is being sent to. It will have the name of the sender and it will have the content of the message itself. So come to chat, then come to models.py. Then now for me to create the models, I can just say class room. The room is going to be inheriting from models.model. Then It's going to be having a room name, and the name of the room is going to be a models dot a character field, and the maximum length is going to be maybe 50. 50 is fine. Then the string representation underscore underscore str underscore underscore self. Let me just make it self dot room name. Is going to be returning it, actually return self dot room name. Then from there I'll be creating the second one, which is class message. So it's going to be inheriting from models dot model as well. Then after inheriting from models dot model, it's going to be having a room where it is being sent to, and the room is going to be a foreign key dot foreign key. So the foreign key, the model that is going to be a foreign key is this room model over here. So come here and bring in the room model. Then on delete, I can just say models dot cascade. So what I'm saying over here is that if you delete a room, all the messages that have been sent to the room is gone. That is it basically. So after room, I'm going to be having sender. So the sender, copy, paste, sender. Then after that, I'm going to be having the message itself. So don't be lazy, just type message equal to models dot text field, because I don't want it to have any limit. So def underscore underscore str underscore underscore self. So I can just come here and return. I can just do something like this. So return a formatted string, and the formatted string is basically going to be room, no, self dot room. Okay, let me make this a formatted string representation of self dot room. Then after giving me the string representation of self dot room, I can just say sender, self dot sender. Okay, self dot sender, and that is it. So let's take a look at what these two models is going to be looking like in the database. So I want to register them in admin.py from .models. Why not import room and messages? So admin.site.register. You register room, and you will also register message. So after, no, what am I doing? God, why am I rushing? Slow down, man. So I have the message, I have the room rather, then I have the message. So we have registered the two of them in the admin, but for us to be able to have access to check them out in the admin, we have to create a super user, and before we can create a super user, we have to migrate first. So for us to migrate, all we have to do is just to do something like this. Class, no, python manage.py make migrations. Now python manage.py migrates. Okay, so now we can create a super user. Python manage.py create super user. Okay, so the username should be admin, the email should be admin at admin.com, and also the password should be admin. I don't mind. Okay, so I can now go back to run my server. So, okay, I've not set my ASGI application. I think it's because I have Daphne installed. It's because I have Daphne installed. So let me let me remove the Daphne for now. So just take this one out for now. and let me take channels out for now so we can view those models. So come here. Okay, very good. So come back here. um, so slash admin. So the username is just going to be admin. The password is going to be admin. Okay, so you can see now that I'm in my Django administration. If I go to the rooms, I can just come here to create a new room. So the new room, I can do something like football, save. I can create another room, basketball. So I can also save. All right. So if I go to messages, if I want to add a new message, the message will have a room where it is being sent to. I can decide to choose football. The sender's name, I can just decide to say Chris, and this message was sent to football group. Okay. So if I should save this, you can say football Chris. So basically, we have the rooms and the messages intact now. Let us go and start working on other parts of um, the website. So I can come here and let me close my server first. So I want to add templates because currently, if I should check this out, um, my server is back on. If we check what we are seeing for now, you can see we are still seeing getting um, the Django success installation page, which is not what we want. So let us go and change this template. For us to change the template, the first thing that I would want us to do is to go and create some views. So if you come to chat, come to okay, actually before that, come to settings.py, come under directories and come here, add a new template. So add a new templates folder. So I'll just say templates. Basically, what you're telling Django is that if you are looking for HTML templates to work with, this is one of the directories that you should look for. So if you come here, after adding these templates over here, you need to come to this root directory where you have manage.py. Then you create a new folder and call it templates. Okay. So I'm going to be creating two templates inside here. I can create the home.html. I can also create the room.html. HTML, yes. So for this home.html, let me just say HTML5. VS Code will give me some of these suggestions. So let me just say H1, the home page. Okay. Then I can come here and I have the room. I can just say HTML5, then H1, the room. So save this one as well. So now that I have these two templates ready, let me create views and link those views to those templates. So I'm inside the views now. I can just say I'll bring in my models. I can just say from, oh, I don't need my models yet. Let me just create the views and walk away. I can just say def home view. So this home view is going to be accepting requests. Then after accepting requests, it will return render. This render over here should be render. Then what is it rendering? It is rendering the request. It is also rendering this template over here, which is home.html. Home.html. All right. So let us do the same thing for the room. So this is going to be Control D room. Okay. But this is small r, and that is it. So I have the home view and I have the room view. All right. So for me to connect the two of them together to a particular an actual endpoint, so just come here, create a urls.py file. In this urls.py file, from django.urls import path. So this is what we're going to be using to create the URL patterns. So the URL patterns is going to be a list of paths. So the first URL pattern is going to be just an empty string. Then I'm going to be having from dot views import the home view and also import the room view. So I can just bring up the home view, then I can just say this one is the name will be equal to the login view, or I can just leave it as login, then comma, then path, then I can just come here and do something like now the way I want the URL to be, I want somebody to be able to do something like the base URL, then slash maybe the name of the room, which is something like football, slash the name of the person, okay, slash the name of the person, which can be something like Steve. All right, so that is what I want. So I can come here and do something like this. I can just say str, then room name, then I'll come to slash like this, then I'll say str, then I'll bring in the person's username, and the username is going to be just a slash like that. So this is going to be the room view, then I'm going to be having name equal to, let me just say room. All right, so if I should save this, I'm going to be getting one error. The reason is because I'm passing room name and username into the room view, and I am not adding this to the the room view function basically. So come here, I need to add both no, I need to add room name and username to the view. So come here and add room name and user name, room name and username to that room view. So before we move any further, let us check, let us see what it looks like. Let us see what it looks like. So is my server on? No. So just run the server and come back here, reload this. Something must be wrong somewhere. Yes, I haven't connected this urls.py file to the major project urls.py file. So come here, delete the whole of this. Then after deleting that path, bring in include. Okay. After bringing in include, you can just say path for the home screen, for the, just write empty string over here since it is the home. You can just say include, then what you want to include is this chat.urls, chat.urls. So save that. Let's see, I'm using black formatter for my Python code, so that is the reason why upon saving it, it is putting everything in one line. This is one of the downsides a of using a code formatter, although I can as well change to prettier, but let's just leave it like that. So come back here and reload. Now you can see I have the home page. All right, I have the home page, and if you come to slash football, for example, slash Steve, if you come here, you can see you have the room. Everything is working just as needed, and we are cool. So now before we move any further, I've pre-written the code, the HTML we are supposed to write for both the home and the room. So let's just go ahead to copy it. So I'll just come here, you can see the HTML for the home page, copy it, then come here, then come to home.html. Yes, just paste everything here, paste everything here. So you can see what we have now. This are just the internal styles. You have the login. Now you have the CSRF token. This CSRF token, I think cross-site request forgery or something. I can't remember. This is just a protection, some sort of security for your post form, because you can see it's a post form and we are posting to the current page. So we are going to be taking username from the user. We are also going to be taking the room that they want to enter. So That is all we are going to be collecting from them. Then if they should post to, they are going to be posting to this same page. Then in the back end, we will handle what will happen when they post the information. So that is it basically. If you come here and you reload the home page, you can see what you have now. This is what the home page is going to be looking like now. So you can come here, you can type in whatever you want to type, then you type the name of the room that you want to enter. All right. So let us go and configure this particular login form in the backend. Let's configure it. How do we do that? You come here, you come to your views. Where are you? I don't need all these ones anymore. Actually, I need that home.html. I don't need this, but I need views. So we want to configure this particular view now. So one thing I can do is to check the method of the request. I can say if request dot method is equal to posts. No, it should be capital posts. What I want to do is for you to extract the username and the room. And don't forget the post data, the name of the field over here is username and room. So I can just come here and say username is equal to request dot posts. And what are you getting for me? You're getting the username. Then after that, you're also going to be getting me the room. Okay, you're going to be getting me the room. So you're getting me the username and the room. So after getting those two, I will play a trick over here. I will try to look for that room. If the room exists, I'll walk away. If the room does not exist, then I will create the room afresh. Alright? So just try. I can just do something like existing room equal to room dot objects. I've not brought in the room from dot models import both room and message because we are going to be needing the two of them. So room dot object dot get, and what we want to get is the object where the id equal to, no, the object where if you come here, where is the models, so where the room name equal to what the user sent us. So where the room name equal to room. So now if the system tries to look for a particular room with that room name and they couldn't find it, then obviously it will throw up an error, and the error that it will throw up is that the room does not exist. So I can just say except room dot does not exist. Then I can just say create a new room. So that will be room dot object dot create a room where the room name equal to room, and that is all. I can just say new, or we can just say r equal to this. So this will automatically create a new room. All right, if the room is not existing before, it will create the room. So after creating the room, the next thing I want to do is that I want to redirect the user to this particular view. And don't forget that the dependencies of this view is that I need a room name and I also need a username. So how can I pass the two into it? I can just come here and do something like this. So after render, I also need redirect. So just come here and return redirect. And what do we want to redirect to? We want to redirect to, if we come to urls.py, we want to redirect to to room. So redirect to room. Now we are going to be passing in the values for both username and the room name. Don't forget, if you come here, we need room name, we need username, and if you come to the the view over here, we need both room name and username. So copy the two of them and paste it here. Room name equal to the room, then username equal to username, and that is it. And we are done with the home view. That is it basically. So come here. If I should reload, let's say the username is Ezekiel, okay. Then the room name is maybe, let me say, Everton. Enter room. You see what it's giving me now? It is giving me Everton, it's giving me Ezekiel. If I come here and I check my rooms, you can see that now I have Everton. Everton wasn't existing before. But let me try to enter a room that was existing before now. So a room that was existing before now is football. So come here and Chris, try to enter football. So enter room. You can see I'm in football, Chris. So if I should come here, you see that it is not creating football again. But we need to take cognizance of something. If I should type small letter F over here, then I have small letter everything in lowercase. It will actually create another room for me, which is not what I want. For example, if Chris should try to enter football, then enter the room. Come here and reload. You see, I'm getting small letter football, which is not what I want. So how can I avoid this? If you come here and if you check the console, you can see the server is running perfectly. So let me delete this one first. Delete selected rooms, then go. Yes, I'm sure. So now I've deleted that small letter football. How can I copy that such that if you enter capital letter and small letter, both of them will work perfectly? If you come to the code over here, um, instead of searching like this, you can search like this instead. Room name icon contains room. So uppercase, lowercase, any order in which it is written, it will work it will just try to look for it. Okay, so come here and now I have I contains. If I should reload and maybe let me say Chris should try to enter football, enter the room. Okay, actually the error is coming from this place. I'm supposed to use double underscores. So you know that initially I did underscore I contains. So it's supposed to be double underscores, please. Take note of that. So if you come back here, um, come to this place. I have basketball. If I come here to write maybe gyms, then basketball. Okay, if I should try to enter the room, if I come here and I reload, you see it is not creating another basketball for me. So it will just look for a room with a name that is almost similar to this. It's just the case that makes it different, but it will just ignore the case. So that is it basically. Now I believe that we are done with the home view. Okay, I believe that we are done with the home view. So let us start working on the room view. For us to work on the room view, what we have to do is just don't forget we have the room name, then we also have the username. So for the room, I can just say existing room, and the existing room is going to be equal to room dot object dot get, and what I want to get is an existing room where, let me just copy the whole of this line. So it will find that room out for me. Then after finding that room, I contains room name. Then after finding that room for me, I will try to get the messages from that particular room. So I can do something like get messages equal to messages dot object dot filter, and what I want to filter is the place where the room equal to the existing room, and that is it. Another thing we can do is where the room underscore ID equal to, or is it underscore ID equal to existing room dot ID? I think this is supposed to work, or perhaps this is supposed to be double underscore. I can't remember, but I'm sure that this will work. This isn't what I have in my notes, so let me just stick to my notes. So room equal to the existing room. Now I will create a context that I'm going to be passing into this particular render. So I can just say context equal to a dictionary basically, and the dictionary I'm going to be having the messages. The messages is going to be get messages, then the user is going to be this username that I have over here. Then I'm also going to be having the name of the room, which is the room name. This room name is going to be room name. So that is it basically. And if I should save this, let's see. Yes, if I should save this and okay, I need to pass the context. I need to pass the context. So now that I have the context inside, if I should save and I come into the room, if I should reload, I'm not getting any serious thing. But one thing I can do is that I can do something like, "Hi James, welcome to this group over here." So if I come to the room.html, I can do something like this because I'm passing the context into it. And don't forget, I have the room name and I have the user. So I can do something like hi user, no, hi, then the name of the user, the variable for the user, which is basically user. So welcome to, then the name of the room. Welcome to the name of the room. Now, one thing that I will not want to do is that if I should pass in this room name directly, if they didn't type the casing of the room properly, I'm going to be getting errors, and I won't want that. So instead, I will do existing room because every room has a name. If you come to models, the room has a room name, so I can just say existing room dot room name. So that way, I'm sure that the this will be existing room dot room name. So that way, I'm sure that the case of the name of the room that the user passed won't affect the output. So come here, welcome to room name. So room name, hi user. So save this and come here. If I should come, you can see, hi James, welcome to basketball. What if this were David? You can see, hi David, welcome to basketball. So which other room do I have? I have Everton. If I should come here, Everton, you can see, hi David, welcome to Everton. So that is working just fine. Now to exactly what we want to learn in this tutorial, I believe all these other parts you understand that. Actually, before we start doing that, let us quickly copy the content of this particular page. Let us copy the content to it. So this is chat.html. So copy, then copy, then come here. So Control A, Control V. So um, save, and if I should come here to reload, you see what the chat page is going to be looking like. I would like to open my console over here. So the chat page is not fully mobile responsive, but I think to some extent it is. So just try to work on it further if you want to. So if you are chatting in a particular room and you are the person that sent a message, or your name correlates with what I have over here, is going to be showing you this chat to the right, while every other person's message will be coming from the left. So that is what I try to achieve over here. So now that we have all these other ones in place, welcome to room name. Let me remove this room name and add what we have over here. So come here and I think it is somewhere here. Yes. So room name. If I save and I come back here and I reload, you see, welcome to Everton. So we are good to go. We are good to go. So another thing that we might want to do is to bring in some messages. Is to create some dummy messages. Then we use the JavaScript, the for loop for the Ginger templating system. So what room are we in? Everton. So come here for messages, add message. So in Everton, sender is David. So the message is from David. Save and add another one. Still in the Everton. Then the sender is going to be Peachan. Peachan's message. I want pizza. Then save and add another one. Still in the same Everton class. Let me say Tola. Then I don't care about pizza. So save and add another one. Since we have David over here, so it will be obvious. This last one is going to be for David. Okay. So message. So what is wrong with all of you? So just save, and I think now we have four messages. So we should be able to work with this. I have two messages from someone else, and I have two from David. So come here and we can start displaying the messages right away. So how can we display the messages? Don't forget that from these models over here, no, not from the models, from the views, we are passing messages, user and room name. I think we have used these two. Now let us go and use this particular two. So I have messages. Let me zoom out a bit. So if you come to check the chat container, if I should collapse all these ones a bit. Okay, so you can see that all these ones that have sent and sent, they are the messages that were sent by the current user. Okay, by the person chatting himself. All these other messages are messages that were received from other members of the same chat. So I can just come here and say and do something like this. Um, for no for message in messages. What name was I using here? Messages, yes. So for message in messages and for actually it is supposed to be percentage. Then I have percentage. I have percentage and I also have percentage. Okay. So now I have to look for a way to check if the current user is the person that sent the message. Okay. So how am I going to know? I can do something like this. I'll put an if statement inside the for loop. So I can do something like where is it? Percentage. If the message, don't forget the message has a sender equal to, let me say sender dot lower. Let me check everything in lowercase. So if message or sender dot lower equal to user, it should be user, right? It should be user, yes, user dot lower. Okay, so user dot lower, then this will be percentage, bring in the else, then percentage, and if yes. So if the current user is the person that sent the message, then I'm going to be using this. Okay, so the sender is going to be me, obviously. Then I'm going to be bringing message dot come here. I'm going to be bringing message dot message. Yes, message dot message, exactly. So that is for that. Then for the other one, I'll just copy this one, copy, then paste. This is also going to be message dot message, but in this other case, this is going to be message dot sender. Okay, so I think that should be all. I can comment all these ones out now. Then if I should save this, I'm having prettier error. What exactly have I done wrong? Um, what happened? I don't think I made any mistake anywhere. I only commented out what I didn't want. If I reload this, okay, actually it should be end if. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I wrote Django, so no, Z. Oh, it should be end if. It should be end if. Sorry about that. So save and reload. Is it supposed to be end 4? Reload. Okay, exactly. So it is working fine now. So I think please take notes. Please take notes. It should be end if and end 4. So that is my bad. Sorry about that. So now you can see the way these messages have been displayed. Okay, I think I know where this is coming from. This is the chat container, and I have taken away this particular line. This line is not supposed to be taken away, so I think this is where I made a mistake. So I think that is why I'm getting this prettier error. So prettier was right. So please take notes. Please take notes. So if I should reload, what is happening? Okay, they are not supposed to be on the same line. So I had to return the formatter for this particular file from prettier to the default HTML language formatter. Okay, so what I did basically, right click, format document with configure default formatter and HTML language features. So it is not going to be formatting this particular document using prettier anymore. So I have my document intact. You can see it is not I think I'm supposed to, just for a bit neatness, let me put all these ones inside. And if I should save this, he brought everything back. Save this and reload. Okay, you can see everything is back to normal. So you can see that because we are chatting as if I were chatting as maybe Chris, you see that everything will be coming to this side. If I were chatting as Python, you see that Python will be coming to the right, just to show that the person that is chatting is the one that sent that current message. So no need for alarm, no cause for alarm. Everything is working intact. So let us start to work on the actual functionality that brought us to this tutorial, which is the chat functionality. So before starting this chat functionality, please off your server. Yeah, off your server first, because we have to bring in the Daphne server now, and we have to bring in channels. So you might be disrupting your server. So come to backend settings, then come here. I have Daphne and I have channels. if you look at the illustration that I did at the beginning, I said in the regular HTTP request, you're going to be having just this request response cycle where you make a request to the server will decode your request, check the appropriate response, then it will send it back to you. Then for this other one person can send them if everybody is connected to the server and we don't have any groups into consideration that we are considering. If one person should send a message to the server will broadcast the message to everybody connected at the same time. But if we have groups that we are dealing with, then it will look for members of that group and broadcast the message to that group and that group only. All right. So that is what we want to go and implement now. For us to be able to implement such, we are going to be needing this HTTP connection. We are also going to be needing this WebSocket connection. So instead of configuring Django to be able to handle only HTTP requests, we will configure Django in such a way that if it is the HTTP request that is coming in, route it to what we used to have initially. But if route it to the views basically, but if it is a WebSocket connection that is coming in, then we have to route it through a consumer. That is exactly what I'm dragging at, a consumer. The view is what you use in the regular request response cycle where you make a request to the server will map your request to a particular view. In the view will do one or two things, send you back a response. All right, but in this case now, what we want to do, we want to create a consumer. It is the consumer that is going to be receiving the messages, and the consumer is going to be broadcasting out the messages as appropriate. All right, so let us start working on the consumer. Now I have my Daphne and I have my channels all installed. So in my, don't forget my server is off. So in my chat, I will create a consumers.py file. So consumer.py. So in this consumers.py, the first thing I want to do is to import JSON. Then from after importing JSON, I will be bringing in an asynchronous WebSocket consumer from channels. So no, that will be from channels dot maybe generic dot WebSockets. So bring in the asynchronous WebSocket consumer. Now, the difference between this asynchronous WebSocket consumer and the asynchronous JSON WebSocket consumer is that when you bring in a message, or when you are sending out the message, you don't have to start to pass the message into JSON. But in my own case, while I was writing my notes actually worked with the asynchronous WebSocket consumer, not the asynchronous JSON WebSocket consumer. But the asynchronous JSON WebSocket consumer is the same thing as using this async WebSocket consumer together with this JSON import that we did over here. So, but this is what I did in my notes, and that is what I want to stick to. Then I'm also going to be needing the database sync to async. So from channels dot the database, what I want you to do is to import database sync to async. All right, then from dot models, I want you to import room, then also import message. All right, so the I'm going to be creating a class. The class is going to be um, chat consumer. Okay, this chat consumer is going to be inheriting from this. Copy. So the chat consumer is going to be inheriting from this. Then after inheriting from this, I'm going to be creating some methods that are inbuilt into this chat consumer. Those methods are what is going to be defining the behavior of this particular consumer. Now, the first one I want to define is the connect consumer, is the connect method, and it's going to be an asynchronous method, def connect. So now you connect. Let me pass self. Then the first thing I want to do is to get the name of the room. All right. So self dot room name is going to be equal to, let me say, a formatted string, then room underscore, then let me bring this in. I can just say self dot scope self.scope, then maybe url underscore routes. Then after bringing in url underscore route, I want to bring in keywords arguments quags. Then after that, I want to be bringing in the room name itself. So room name. Okay. So room name. We are going to be configuring this into the URL itself. So after bringing in the room name, I want to add this particular person to a channel layer. If you look at this diagram that we are working with, at some point I said instead of broadcasting the message to everybody, we can be sending the message from a group. And if you are sending from a group, you don't want to send to everybody. You just want to send to members of that particular group only. So that is the reason why we have to create a channel layer. Then we will add that particular user that is connecting to that particular layer. So we have something like this. Await self dot channel layer dot group underscore add dot group add. Now this group add now, I'm going to be passing in two things. Self dot the name of the room name. Don't forget the room name is going to be room underscore anything that the user passes in this case over here. um this is going to be in the WebSocket. It is going to be saying it as room underscore everything. All right, so that is more like the unique identifier of the room. So in the channels layer, so in the channel layer rather, so now I have self dot room underscore name. Then the next one is going to be the name of the channel, self dot um, channel name. So this channel name, I think it's auto generated from the chat consumer. So after doing this, I want to await um, self dot accept, and that is it. So this is the line of code where you accept an incoming socket. Okay, you accept an incoming WebSocket connection. So after doing this, the next thing that I want to do is to write the disconnect method. So for the disconnect method, I can just say async, then I will say def disconnect. And what am I disconnecting from? I will have self and the disconnect code. So basically, I want to discard this group. Okay, I want to discard the group if I want to disconnect. So I can just say, let me just copy this. So it will be group instead of add. This will be discard. Okay, discard. So and that is, I think that is all I want to do there. I can also do self dot close. Then I'll bring in the close code. Copy. I'll bring in the close code. So that is another thing I can do. So after doing that, these are the methods that are going to be responsible for the connect and the disconnect. Every time a user connects to this particular chat consumer, it is going to be given something like a handshake, and every now and then it is going to be pinging the backend just to keep the connection alive, like every second or every 2 seconds, every 3 seconds or so like that. So now let me create a routings file. I can say routing.py, and in this routing.py file, I'm going to be having from Django.urls bring in path. Then after bringing in the path, I want to bring in my chat consumer. So from dot consumers, bring in the chat consumer. Import the chat consumer. So for this chat consumer now, I can just say ws pattern. So this ws, oh, let me just say WebSocket pattern equal to, normally to be a list, then path. So this path, I'm going to be having, I can do something like let me say WebSocket slash messages. Okay, messages slash the name of the room. Don't forget the name of the room. So I can just do like this. str room underscore name. And if you pay attention, oh, before we talk about that, chat consumer dot as underscore asgi, then you open and you close your brackets, then save. Now if you are paying attention, you will notice that I'm bringing in this room name here. Where I'm consuming this data that the user is going to be sending me is this over here. You can see this room name that I'm getting, this room name. So you can see the room name, that is where I'm going to be getting this data. So the next thing I want to do is to go to my asgi.py file. Don't forget, like I said, we want to create a system that can handle both the regular http requests, and it is also going to be handling the WebSocket request. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to tell the system that, okay, if it is an HTTP request, route it to what we used to have in the ASGI application initially. But if it is a WebSocket request, route it to the chat consumer. All right. So for us to achieve that, what we have to do is to come here to the asgi.py of the backend project, this ASGI. Then we are going to be importing some things. So I can just say, I can do something like this from channels dot routing, import the protocol type router. So this protocol type router, you are also going to be bringing in the URL router. Okay, so then from chat app dot routing, from chat dot routing, import the ws pattern. So if you look at your urls.py for chat, urls.py, what we have over here basically is what we want to achieve for the ws pattern. That is it basically. But now we are hooking it into the asgi application. So I'm setting my Django settings module. I'm setting it. Then after that one, I can come here, and normally this is the application that Django is going to be running by default. This is the application over here. But this is not what I want to be using, because I want to create two type of connections now. Don't forget, one that will handle the regular HTTP, then the other one that will be handling this WebSocket connection. Okay, so come here and I can do something like let me say HTTP response app. So I can just come here and now define the application. So this application now is going to be equal to the protocol type router. So this protocol type router is going to be taking a dictionary. Now the type of protocol that we want to route to this particular one over here is HTTP. Okay, so this HTTP now, I want to give it this HTTP response app. This HTTP response app is the ASGI application that we have primarily in Django. Okay, that is what we have like by default in Django. Then on the other hand, we have the WebSocket. So this WebSocket is what we want to give the URL router. So this URL router is going to be taking this WS pattern, and that is it. It's going to be taking that WS pattern. So now after adding that, the next thing that we want to do is to register this application inside our Django settings module, inside our Django settings.py file. So I think I can close some of all these other ones. I have to do one last thing in settings. So Whiskey application, I can come here and bring in my ASGI application. So this will be ASGI application. So this is going to be backend ASGI application. So dot application. Basically, what we are saying is that if you are looking for the ASGI application now, you are going to be you will look for the backend folder dot ASGI. Then when you get to ASGI, look for application. Okay, so that is what is going to be the new ASGI application that we are setting. So Daphne, when you run Daphne, Daphne is going to be looking for this particular application. Then it will look for that protocol type router. It will see this application and see it as a protocol type router. So when HTTP request is coming in, it will route it to what we used to have in Django initially. But if it's a WebSocket connection, it will give it to this URL router that will now take it and route it to the chat consumer that is now going to either connect, disconnect, or receive messages. We are going to be creating all those. Now, the last thing that we want to do for now is to work on the channel layers. So the channel layers that we want to work with is the default channel layers. You can use Redis if you want to. Django channel layers. Django channel layers. So there's a code here that we have to copy. Yes, this is it. So if you are using Redis, you can use Redis. In a production environment, please don't use the default. Do not use the default, please. But this default is what we are going to be using for now, just for the sake of this tutorial. And I think we are good to go. I think we are good to go. So before we start our Django server, we need to create the WebSocket connection in the front end. So everything I need is just this consumers.py file and the room.html. So the next thing I want to do now is that just before the end of this body tag, I will create no, cancel. Just before the end of this body tag, I will create a script tag. So script. So inside the script tag is where I'm going to be writing the code for the WebSocket connection. So now the next thing I want to do is to do something like this: socket or const socket URL is going to be equal to, let me bring this up. No. So this is going to be WS, which stands for WebSocket. Then I'm going to be doing something like this, dot slash slash. Don't forget that if you come here, um, what am I doing? If you come here, you know that what you'll be having here is http dot slash slash. That's what you're going to be having. But in this other case here, I'm going to be having WebSocket then slash. Don't forget that the under consumers.py or routing.py rather, what we have is ws messages, then the name of the room. So come here, you can just paste that here. So ws slash the actually I'm supposed to put something here. Dot slash slash. Then this is going to be um dollar sign. So here I'm going to be putting window dot location dot host. What window dot location dot host is going to be adding to that URL is basically this. This is what it's going to be adding. It will try to look for it and add it on its own, so we don't have to type that manually. So that would be window dot location dot host slash WebSocket slash messages slash the room name. But you know that this is not what we are going to be having. So basically room underscore name. If you don't forget what we did over here, just this room name. So we are just injecting it into the WebSocket. All right. Now, since we have our WebSocket URL, we can proceed to create a new WebSocket. So const socket is going to be equal to a new WebSocket. So this new WebSocket is going to be taking this socket URL, copy and paste. So I can just come here and do something like console.log establishing socket connection establishing socket connection. So save this, and now I think we can start the server back. Okay, so you can see now that it is starting an ASGI slash Daphne server. if you go up what we used to have, let me look for all these ones are errors that used to, you can see that it's just starting a development server, a regular server. That is what it was starting initially, but now what it is starting is an ASGI slash Daphne server. So you can see the ASGI for the regular HTTP request, while Daphne is going to be handling the WebSocket requests. So if I come here and I reload, you can see it is showing me establishing socket connection. And if I come here, I must have made a mistake somewhere. Okay, I think this is where I made a mistake. Okay, I added one other closing. Please take note of that. Oh, I added two. I think that is where the mistake is coming from. Okay, it will reload the server now, and if I should reload, I'm not getting any errors. Come back to the server. You can see handshaking connect. So everything is working fine up to this point. Everything is working fine up to this point. Now let us try to send message to the backend. Okay, we want to be able to send and receive messages. We want to be able to send and receive messages. Now, bear it in mind that when somebody loads this page, the first set of messages that the person is going to be getting are the messages that have been sent before now, that have been saved to the database. Those are the first set of messages that the person is going to be getting. But now that we have established a WebSocket connection, you can start getting messages real time, depending on when people send their messages. And one other thing that we can do to spice up this application is to, apart from getting all this other information, if you come to models, you can also get the time that the message was sent. You can do something like timestamp. This timestamp is going to be equal to models dot date time field. You can do auto, um, I think auto now add, auto auto now add equal to true. So every time they send the message equal to true. So every time they send a particular message, you don't have to add the timestamp manually. Django will automatically add the time for you. Alright. So but I won't be doing that. So come back here, establishing socket connection. Now let us try to send messages to the backend. The backend basically. So how can we do that? The first thing we want to do is to come here. Now this form over here, this form, this MSG form, we have to configure it so that it will be able to send messages to the backend. And don't forget, we have a socket connection already, so we can use this socket connection to send the message to the backend. If you come here, you see that we had a successful connection the other time. Okay, we had a successful connection, so we are free to send messages to the backend. So how can we do that? Come back here, then send message to the backend. So I can do something like the message, no, const message form equal to document dot get element by id, and the id of the element that we are trying to get, which is the message form, is this form over here. And you can see the id is what, msg form. So this msg form, I can now say message form dot add event listener, and the event that we want to listen to is a submit event. Okay, and the submit event now, I can just say function, and the function is going to be accepting the event. And I'm going to be doing something like this. Then I'll now say event dot prevent default. So after preventing default, the next thing I want to do is to get this text area. I want to get this text area now. So I can just say um, the let me just get the content of the text area directly. I can just say let message sent equal to document dot get element by id, and the element you are getting by id is this one over here, message, then dot value, and that is it. So dot value, then now you can do something like socket dot send. You can say json dot stringify, and what I want to stringify, basically I'm going to be passing a dictionary there, an object rather, sorry, I write too much of Python. Message will be this message that I have over here. Okay, now after passing message, I'm going to be passing room name and sender. So room name equal to a string which will be room underscore name. Then after this one, I'm going to be passing the sender, which is also going to be user. Okay, so don't forget that this room name is coming from the views. If you come to views, you can see this context that we passed into room.html. We have the room name and we also have the user. So both of them, we are injecting it there. So the sender is going to be the user. Now that's said and done. So basically, if I should save that and let me do a bit of configuration in my consumers. Now we have done the connect and the disconnect. Let us write the receive method. So it's going to be an asynchronous function, def receive, then self dot no let me say the data received. So this data received now, data underscore json, that is where we are going to be using this our json. So data json equal to json dot loads. So json dot loads data received. Okay, so this will convert it to a regular Python dictionary. Then the message that we receive, um let us just print data. Let us print data json. Okay, so let me save this one now. Now that I've saved this one, come here and reload this page. Let me say this is the first message. If I should send it and I come back here, oh, he's still shaking hands. If I should send it, the message is not sending. Something must be wrong somewhere. So I troubleshooted the problem and it seems I didn't spell my receive correctly. That's the reason why this was not giving me the required response. So now that I've spelled my receive correctly, that is everything I did wrong. So please just correct it on your end. So come back here and if I say how are you doing, if I run this, you can see I actually wrote some um, I wrote this one and I wrote this one. I had to pause the video to quickly troubleshoot it. Sorry about that. So I've saved this, and if you come here, you can see what you can see. Received data. How are you doing? And you can see the room name is Everton and the sender is what, Python, because actually we are currently connected as Python. If I come here and change it to David and I come here, you can see it is giving me David. If I come here and say hello boss, how are you doing? If I run this, come back here, you can see hello boss, how are you doing? The room name is Everton. Now the sender is David. All right, so that is it basically. Now let us go ahead to complete the backend of our application. So for us to complete that backend, we will have to finish up this receive this receive method that we were writing over here. Now we have to create an event such that when you receive, basically just broadcast the message out. That is what we want to do. So I don't need this anymore, and I don't need this anymore. And I think I was using received data here, data received or something here. I had to change it to text data. I don't know. So event equal to, then the type of the event that I want is just send message. That is the type of the event. Then the message itself that you want to send out, message. The message that you want to send out is going to be message. Okay, so the message is basically going to be data.json. That is the message you want to send out, basically. Then I'm going to be doing something like await um, self dot channel layer dot group send. Now this group send is going to be taking the self dot the room name and the event. And don't forget, the event is send message. So now we need to write a function that is going to respond to this particular event. So that function is what we want to go and write now. So we are going to be breaking the function into two actually. So we have async, then def send underscore message self comma the event. So I can come here and say the data equal to the event. Then let me, don't forget this is the event over here that we are passing. So the event has type and it has message. So basically this send message over here is going to respond to this particular event. So the message is what I want to extract, which is this data.json that we are getting over here. So I'm extracting the event. Now I have the JSON, this data JSON basically. Now what I want to do is that I want to create a message. Await self dot create a message. Await self dot create message where the data equal to the data that we have. Then that particular message, I can come here and say response equal to the sender, and this sender is going to be data sender. Don't forget that this particular data.json that we wrote to the console is going to be having message, room name, and sender. That particular sender is what we are extracting here. Then we are also going to be extracting the message. Message. That will be data message. Okay. So this is the response that we are going to be giving out. Now this response that we are going to be giving out, we are going to be doing something like this. Await self dot send text data equal to json dot dumps. We want to dump that particular data, and we can do something like message. This is going to be message, then response. So this message basically we are sending it out. We are sending it out. That is what we want to do. This message we are sending it out. Yet this particular create message, we need to go and create it. It is not a function that is inbuilt into the chat, into this async WebSocket consumer. Now one reason why we have to create this function separately is because we want to use the database sync to async decorator that we imported here. We want to bring it into it. This is what is going to be creating the messages in the database. This is what is going to be creating the message to the database. If the we are also going to be doing some checks there, and we won't want this methods to be carrying out itself like multiple times. That's the reason why we have to bring it to we have to bring it out basically. So at database sync to async, then I'll be having def create no create message, and it's going to be taking self and data. Don't forget, this is where the data is going to be, self and data. Then after doing that, I can just say get the room, and the current room that we have is basically room dot object dot get. Okay, now we have the name of the room, so we can just say room name equal to data, and the data we have room underscore name. So now we are trying to get um, the room where the message is being sent. So we are trying to we can say if not messages dot object dot filter, we can say I'm trying to check if the message have not been created before. In case it tries to create it again, it will just skip it. Dot filter where message equal to data message dot exists. The downside to this is if two people send the same messages, then it will not save one. That is the downside. But well, it's a basic chat application we are trying to create. So you can perform so many other checks. For example, if the message is equal to that data, and if the sender actually, there is one other thing we can do. If the sender also equal to the data dot sender, because don't forget we have both the sender and the message. So if the sender equal to data sender. Okay, so now the downside to this one is if one person should send one message to twice. For example, you copy paste a message that you have sent initially, it will not be saved. So but let's just work with this. We can just say the new message equal to message dot object dot creates. So after creating, basically the room is going to be equal to get room, then the sender is going to be equal to, I can just copy this. You can see message equal to data message, sender equal to data, then sender. So this will just create the new message for us, and that is it basically. So now that we have created a sender function for our server, we can create a system for the client side to receive the information. So let us go and create the system that will receive the information. We have created a system that will send out information. Now let's create a system that will receive information. So if you come here and okay, he formatted everything for me. um, Come to the room, and this is what is sending message to the backend. Now how can we receive messages from the backend? So for us to receive messages, receive message from the backend. For us to receive message from the backend, we have to add a listener to this socket that we created over here. So we can just say socket dot add event listener, and the event listener is message. Okay, then I can just say use the arrow function, so for this particular function I can say const data, which is what we are getting from the backend, equal to JSON dot pass. Okay, then now I want to pass e dot data. Then this e dot data, now I'm going to be indexing the key of message. Okay, if you look at what we did over here in the consumers, don't forget that what um we are sending message, we are sending the whole of this as this. Okay, so this message over here, which is going to be giving me the whole of this, is what I'm trying to extract over here. All right, so const data equals to that. Then let me get the sender. So let the sender equal to data, then indexing sender. Then after that one, let the contents content of the message itself, let it be message. Okay, because if you come to the consumers, you see message, message. So that is the content of the message. So after doing that, the next thing we want to do, um after doing that, I want to check if the sender equal to the user. All right, this sender that we have over here, if it is the same thing as the user. So if the sender, if sender, no, sender equal to, or let me use double equal to the user. So if the sender equal to the user, then um, I want to do something over here. Okay, the first thing I want to do is to empty this box over here. So um, empty this box over here equal to an empty string. So when you send a message and you are the person that is sending the message, it will just go and clear the content of this message box. Okay, it will just clear the content. So now we have to do a bit of maneuvering here, and the maneuvering that we want to do is that, don't forget, from the top here we said if the message sender is the current person that is there, this is what we want to do. But if the message sender is not the current person, this is what we want to do. So you can see that those are two different um, things that we are working with. So come back here, I can say, let me just copy this, and just for simplicity we can say output, or um, out let's output equal to, or there's no need for this actually, there's no need for this there's no need for this. Basically what I want to do is just to append something to that particular list. So this chat container over here, I have to look for a way to get the chat container. So let me just add an id chat container. So copy, now come back and select the chat container. So you can do something like chat, let's const chat div equal to document dot get element by id, then bring that one in. So you will now say, let me bring this in again, I hate this repetition, but let me do today's own and get away with it. So you can just say chat div um, dot inner html plus equal to, I want to append this to what is there already. So I would rather use a backtick. So now that I have a backtick, I can just come here and copy the whole of this, then come here and paste it. So now that I have those copied, um, I don't have to do this, but I will do something different instead. I would use dollar sign. If you remember your JavaScript template literals, so this is going to be content. Then this is if the sender equal to sender, so I'll just say sender is me. Then else, so chat div.innerhtml, that will be plus equal to, so it is also going to be content, but in this particular case, the sender is going to be the sender. It's no longer going to be me. All right. So that is it basically, and we are done. Then another thing that we want to do is to scroll to the bottom anytime after receiving a message. You scroll to the bottom, so basically it will show you the current message. So to get that current message, scroll to bottom. So for this scroll to bottom function, now let us quickly go and write it. The scroll to bottom function is a fairly simple one. So scroll to bottom. For this scroll to bottom, I'm going to be having function, or I can even use arrow function here. Const scroll to bottom is an arrow function that will say let the chat container. Okay, I think I have gotten the chat div somewhere here, so I don't have to declare the variable twice. So just bring it here. So now that I have my chat div, I can just say chat div dot scroll top equal to chat div dot scroll height, and that is it. And that is it. So that is for the scroll to bottom. The scroll top, then scroll height, and that is it. Now, before we leave this code that we wrote over here, so there is one slight change that we have to make. Now, if you look at what we did over here, if the sender is the current user, we copied this, but we inserted the content. But if the sender is the current user, then we copied this other content over here. We inserted both the content and the sender. Now, if you look at what we have upstairs over here, you can see that for the messages that the current user sent, you can see the sender is me. The message that another user that is not the current user, anyone that they send, this is what the message will look like. If you look at this extra class over here, this sent class over here, so this one is for the current user, while this one is for any other user apart from the current user. So we can have some messages floating to the right and to the left. So if you come here, the mistake we made is that when sender equal to user, it will carry this sent class. But if the sender is not the current user, then the message we actually want it to be on the left. And if you look at the CSS of that sent, you can see the CSS over here float right. That is the reason why the message of the current user will be tilted towards the right. All right. So that is it basically. So I'm going to be removing this sent class from here, and that is it basically. So save it and let us go and try it out. And if I should come here to reload it, so I'm chatting as David now. I can just say hi, this is David. Before we move forward, that message that we got from the backend, let us actually print it. So console.log, that particular message, which is the data. So save this and let me reload it again. So you see everything is working fine. Hi, this is David. Then send it. You can see hi, this is David, and it is sending it as me. Okay, if you come here, okay, no, we are not printing anything from the backend again. You can see this over here now. It is sending message and the sender, which is David. All right. Now, if I were chatting as Tola, which is Tola basically, and I run this, you see that it is only going to be showing Tola over here. Then if I should come here, Tola speaking, if I should run this, you see it is giving me Tola speaking over here. Now let me use two different browsers. Okay, let us I have three browsers open. I have this one, then I also have this one, so they will be representing three different people. So let me say we want to log into a particular um, a room. So let this one be David, and let David log into the room of football. Okay, then this is Alex also logging into the room of football. Then let us have this one as Ezekiel logging into football. Okay, so now you can see the messages that we have here already. Come here, log in. You can see the messages. Come here, then also log in. You can see the messages now. So David will be sending the first message. You can see that the last message that we are having for the three of them is just hi and hi and hi. So let me see if I can collapse my screen, so we will have a better view of all the three users. So come here, collapse my screen. So you can also come here so that I can collapse this other screen too. Okay, so we have three different individuals chatting at the same time. Then so this is one of the reasons why I said not all of them are 100% mobile responsive, but you can actually work with this since it's just a okay. So now I have all of them. I'll just have everything exactly. So I have Ezekiel, I have Alex, then I have David. So Ezekiel might come here and type something like so I can have more room. I can do something like hi. If I should send it, you see that on the view or on the interface of Ezekiel, I'm getting hi. Okay, but on this other two persons interface, I'm getting hi. I'm also getting hi, but Ezekiel's own, because Ezekiel is the current sender, is the sender of the message. His message is being floated to the right, just like you have in WhatsApp. Okay, just like you have in WhatsApp. If David should come here and send another message, for example, hello, this is David speaking. Send the message. You can see that for David, it's just getting hello, this is David speaking. Now, for Ezekiel, it's also getting hello, this is David speaking, but his own is floated to the left just because of how we wrote the CSS, basically. Just how we wrote the CSS. For every message that is not the current sender's message, it will be floated to the left, and you can see the color is different. But for the messages that are coming from the actual sender, the message will be floated to the right. So come here and you can say, wow, I love this chat room. Send it. You can see this is Alex. This is Alex. And these messages are going out in real time. It is going out in real time. You can see all the messages are going out in real time. This is when Ezekiel connected. This is when Alex connected. And this is when David connected. Okay, this is when David connected. So everybody is connected to the backend via WebSocket, and when somebody sends a message, everybody is getting it in real time. This is possible because of WebSocket. Okay, so let me send one more message. I can just come here. Welcome to the room, and if I should send it, you see everybody is getting the message. But before we close this, let me show you that if you log into any other room that is not the current room, then obviously you will not be getting messages from this other room. All right, so let Ezekiel log into basketball. Okay, So this is the basketball room. This is the basketball room. So if I should come here from Ezekiel and I said, hi, this message is sent to the basketball room. Send. You see that this message is going to the basketball room, but in the football room, nobody is receiving this message. Okay, because of the channel layers that we created. Don't forget. So this is on a different channel layer now. Okay, this is on a different channel layer. If you check this one, you will see that this one was on the channel layer for basketball. It used to be on the channel layer for football, but now it's on the channel layer for basketball. Ezekiel used to be on the channel layer for football, okay? But now it's on the channel layer for basketball. So it's going to be sending messages to that channel layer. Anybody that is not logged into that channel layer will not get messages, all right? So let me log David, for example, into the basketball room. So you can see David is in the basketball room now, and David is getting this message to the left. All right. So, um, hi, how are you doing? It should be hi. If I should send this, you can see, hi, how are you doing? This is floated to the right, and everything is working just as intended. And if you come here, you can see that this guy is not getting the messages from basketball because Alex is in the football room. Okay, so that is everything basically how we can configure our chat application using Daphne and Django channels. Now, one thing you should know is that this is just the list of what you can do with Django and channels. So there is a tutorial that will be coming on the channel where I'm going to be creating a WhatsApp inspired application using Django and React where you'll be able to chat with somebody, like you'll be able to chat with somebody or chat in a group. You'll be able to chat with somebody or chat in a group. So that will be the end of the tutorial. It's been a long one. Thank you for staying to the end. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel, and follow us on our social media handles so that when we create videos like this, you get notified. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.